Okay, good afternoon everyone, and great to see such a large number of people here for the Partners in Technology session today. My name's Andrew Garner, the Director General of the Department of Science, IT, Innovation and the Arts. And with me today is Susan Middleditch down the front here, the Deputy Director General of System Support Services, there we go, for Queensland Health. And today we're here to talk to you about the future directions of ICT Government, as well as one of the first off the rank being Queensland Health, which Susan will talk to. So as I said, thanks everyone for coming today. And this is the first forum we've had since the release, certainly, of the ICT Audit, and also the first focus on ICT since the Commission of Audit. So I'll certainly kick off on two key steps. First of all, providing an update on the directions of ICT as it relates to the Queensland Government, as well as also the immediate next action steps we've got prior to handing over to Susan. So first of all, Queensland Government ICT Future Directions Update. Over the last 12 months, we've seen the Queensland Government establish quite a strong framework for moving forward with ICT. Up there on the page, I've got the key framework items which we're using moving forward around the principles. First of all, the Government's 5 pledges of key relevance for me and the ICT strategy moving forward is certainly ICT assisting in the growth of the 4 pillars. It's also enhancing frontline service delivery and also lowering the cost of living for Queenslanders across the state. Secondly, as all of you would have seen approximately 4 to 5 weeks ago now, the Commission of Audit was released, which certainly as it related to ICT provides some very strong and focused direction as we move forward. I'll get onto those later. As of last Friday, we finally released the ICT Audit. And then there were 60 recommendations, which in essence formed a subset of the the Commission of Audit overarching recommendations. We provided further what I'd call tactical directions around ICT as we move forward. One for the future, and this is a plug, I would encourage everyone in the room to participate in the Queensland Plan. This is where the government's seeking everyone's input to defining how we're going to look in 30 years' time. I've got the website up there, and as I said, I encourage everyone in this room to participate, particularly as it relates to where we think ICT will be in 30 years' time, and also the skills and capabilities that we expect we need in 30 years' time. Every key government strategy document, every key government directions document has a placeholder awaiting the release of the Queensland Plan towards the end of this year. Finally, and coming out of those first 3 points above, we've got the ICT Discussion Paper and Strategy due by the end of June 2013. Once again, I'll give some further updates on that later on in the presentation. So we've got the framework as established by the 5 pledges, the Commission of Audit and the ICT Audit. From that, and what's been released within the ICT Directions Paper for discussion, are some key go-forward principles which will be adopted moving forward. The department I represent, Department of Science, Innovation, IT and the Arts, is very much taking the lead role in the application, definition and management of these principles as we move forward. So going through the key 3 streams. First of all, ICT investment. There had been some talk around the government over the last 1 to 2 years taking a more centre-led approach to ICT. We're actually moving more on the federated model. Whereas we'll set the directions and strategies for agencies to adopt, when it comes to their business systems, we very much want their input, their ownership of the decisions made. As an example, Queensland Health today looking at their finance system. Multi-departmental investment will be our preference. Once again, as an example, from my perspective, we expect the outcomes of this market sounding Queensland Health are operating. We will be looking for broader application across the ERP market across all departments, including my own. Obviously, and it goes without saying, we will be looking at strong portfolio, program and project management. As an example, once again, we've kicked off in the department a portfolio management for the ICT reform moving forward for the next 2 to 3 years. I'll get to a little more of that later on. As we go into design, and this also I would include in some of the procurement principles as well. First and foremost, we are very much moving to focusing on outcomes. Hopefully, and I can't guarantee this entirely, but hopefully the days are past where we receive 5 binders of requirements. What we're moving forward towards is looking for services defined on outcomes. We've seen with open data, we also will be seeing with more and more with further items to be released in the near future. We'll be looking to better define the information data architecture so we can start to share data and services across government. One of the key areas I've had questions on in the last 2 to 3 weeks in particular, certainly since the Commission of Audit's been released, has been around information security. As such, we'll see we'll see ongoing focus and definition around how we're going to manage that, but on a risk management basis. Core to all of these activities and core to moving forward, not just within ICT but across the government as a whole, as all agencies look to implement the Commission of Audit recommendations, will be a strong investment in skills development. There's no doubt that Queensland, we do face the need to completely redevelop our capabilities and skills as we move into the brave new world. So there'll be significant investment in that space. The one which has received most press over the last couple of weeks has been the ICT as a service preference. I'd even go stronger. For me, when I look at opportunities, it's very much on a first basis. If we can source the service or the outcome as a service, that is what we'll be doing. In relation to delivery, for those who saw the Minister's announcements, my Minister's announcements on Friday and the last few days, we will have up and running within 6 months, and 6 months is the outside, an IT dashboard which clearly shows our forward program of work, projects currently underway, and very importantly, the status of those projects. For those who are aware of the US equivalent, it's very along those lines where the key projects that are undertaken by every department across government will be up for all to see. The status of those projects, green, amber, red, the partners they're using, and the budget. We do believe that'll drive us much stronger transparency and accountability, not just from our side, but also from the side of the vendors. Once again, out of the Commission of Audit, there's very strong focus on reduced ICT ownership of our assets. As we move forward, we'll be looking to buy those as an outcome, as a service from this market in the room here. That will need strong contract management. Oh, no, someone had an arm up. That will mean strong contract management. And also, as we look forward to those principles, strong value for money return on investment. Pragmatic ICT policy, it's easy to say that. One of the key activities we've kicked off under the ICT reform program is a reform process around ICT procurement. Hopefully, we'll get to a process whereby we release tenders for a shorter period of time and in a manner which allows stronger and ongoing industry engagement until the last moment. Similarly, for the high-risk projects, we will be requiring strong and independent assurance over all high-risk projects moving forward. To support the ICT dashboard, transparency, etc., we will be reporting to Cabinet, that's myself and the Minister, on a twice-yearly basis on the status of the ICT reform program. So they're the go-forward principles upon which we're moving forward with. We have been engaging with all department CIOs on those principles, and we are starting to see them adopted across all agencies. Just going back a step to look at the two key driving reports from my perspective. First of all, the Queensland Commission of Audit. The Commission of Audit was established to first and foremost recommend strategies to strengthen the economy, but we've now seen the actions undertaken there. Over the last 12 months, we have seen fiscal repair occur within the Queensland Government. We're now moving forward to that third dot point, and those who once again noted and read through the Commission of Audit as it was released in April would have noted a strong focus on ensuring value for money in service delivery. All the actions we're undertaking today are ultimately designed to ensure that the Queensland public receives better services for a lower cost. Of the recommendations put out by the Commission of Audit, the majority were accepted, and those that were not accepted, in essence, were to do with some different levels of governance. Specifically as it relates to ICT, there were 6 ICT recommendations, but they're quite far-reaching and really make a shift in how we're moving forward on ICT. I've mentioned the ICT as a service. As I said, from my perspective, that will be the first principle. If we can buy an outcome as a service, that's what we'll be looking to do. Secondly, and this has received a little bit of press, we will be divesting of the SciTech business over the next 2 years. We're in the process of identifying how that will occur, the manner, shape, etc. We'll undertake that process, but SciTech will be gone within 2 years. I've touched on some of the improved governance principles around the federation model, the strategies, policies being driven out of my department, and also the IT dashboard. Move to cloud computing. Once again, not dissimilar to ICT as a service, it's very much our focus moving forward. We do understand and are in the process of defining the appropriate security provisions around that. I've also mentioned the ICT assets and systems divestment. Importantly, what we're trying to do, or what we will be doing, is using these principles to allow agencies to focus on their strategic issues. For those who have been through the 900 pages of the ICT Audit, you'll notice the vast majority, I think it's greater than 80% of our current ICT resources are devoted to operations. We're wanting to change that mix to have our resources focus on the strategic thinking up front, the management, and certainly to an extent the operation, but very much looking to change the shift from operations to thinking to get the better outcomes. A key related recommendation out of the Commission of Audit, which particularly as ICT as an enabler has a big influence on the ICT directions moving forward, is the contestability of shared services. So it's worthwhile examining that a little bit more detail. So contestability does not mean outsourcing. It does not mean that this government will be, in the next period of time, rushing out to outsource our processes. What it does mean is exposing our shared services to market forces to ensure that we are delivering those services in the most efficient and effective manner possible. We're applying a value for money test. And that threat of competition should drive greater efficiencies within government. As the Commission of Audit identifies, first and foremost, if our shared services can be efficient, that's what we'll use. Secondly, are there steps to make it more efficient? Then, if only then, if we cannot provide an efficient service through steps and actions in a timely manner, will we consider options to improving our delivery in that manner? But that said, ICT very much can play a key role in making sure our shared services are contestable. And as we'll see the first step of that today, and Susan will go into more detail on a case study around Queensland Health, or not even a case study, a real life scenario around Queensland Health. The ICT Audit. Who's here had a chance to go through the ICT Audit? 1, 2, 3, a handful. It is 900 pages of goodness. And it actually, the ICT Audit is the most significant and large comprehensive review of an ICT state of play that's been undertaken. In there is the state of play of all the government's ICT platform. Conducted, as we all know, May to October last year in relation to fieldwork, undertaken by the Queensland Government CIO's office. It very much was a point-in-time audit, but it set the platform and how we're going to move forward. Some key principles out of it was very much, we reviewed, the government spends $1.6 billion in ICT annually. Part of the, and in the ICT audit actually identifies that that's grown year on year, significantly over the last 20 years. One of the comments in there is that this is now what we expect to be the real-time maximum of ICT spend, 1.6 billion. In real terms, that's it. From this point forward, we'll be looking to reduce that year on year in real terms. The aspects examined: strategy and governance, procurement, service delivery models, assets and services initiatives. I don't think I need to tell this audience too much about what they encompass in their own right, across the 20 agencies. We didn't cover GOCs or state authorities. Some of the key metrics out of the ICT audit. At the point in time, the government had underway 1,100 ICT initiatives. We had 1,730 business applications, almost 5,000 technologies. We had 140,000 telecommunication items and almost 300 procurement contracts. In 12, then 24 months, that'll look significantly reduced across the board. As I said, there's 60 recommendations out of the ICT audit. I just thought it'd be worthwhile going through the key themes and some of the key recommendations that we're enacting. First of all, I've covered off transition to ICT as a service, and that's underway. I'll get onto that in some of the next steps. Government systems modernisation. You would have, those who have read through it or even read the press lately, it would have been highlighted in there the number of at-risk systems the government currently has. I believe it's around 150 in terms of high risk, which in essence means they've reached end of life, the technology's gone, etc., etc. So the next few years, it'll be about modernising those key at-risk systems. And once again, the example is today. There are other examples in there. What I would say around that though, we're not going to replace them the way we've done it in the past. We're not going to be conducting 150 or thereabouts cradle to grave big bang implementations. What we're looking to do is replace them with software as a service, cloud solutions, outcome-based solutions. We also had some commentary around the management framework, and in particular improving the governance as it relates to portfolio program project assurance. Obviously with that modernisation, the high-risk systems can't be replaced tomorrow, so there's already actions underway around the stabilisation of those high-risk systems. DCS is a good example whereby we've kicked off the procurement process for a new payroll solution. In the interim, some key activities have been undertaken to ensure that the system is being managed around the risk of failure. I'll come back to workforce transformation. Corporate services reform. The IT audit did touch on corporate services reform. It was one of the recommendations of the two that we did reject. It spoke about QSS, Queensland Shared Services. Queensland's, to make it very clear, and as per the Commission of Audit, Queensland Shared Services will be subject to contestability like all other shared services. The ICT audit recommendation around the outsourcing of QSS has been rejected. Workforce transformation and where people in this room can assist. As I touched on earlier, I actually see this as the biggest challenge we face over the next 2 to 5 years. We've taken a quite distinct change of direction as we move forward around ICT, and that will require new skills and new capabilities within the marketplace. Right from definition up front of what we need, through the procurement and negotiation of what we purchase, then the ongoing management and maintenance of a quite different style of ICT service delivery. So the Commission of Audit and the ICT Order, as I said, gave us some background and contextual framework information around our future strategy. Many of you in this room have also participated over the last 3 to 4 weeks now providing feedback on our ICT Discussion Paper. The ICT Discussion Paper, for those who haven't, is in essence a paper that's been released with our key principles, our key thoughts to assist us in defining the ICT strategy for the Queensland Government, of which the first cut will be out 30 June. Sorry, it'll be released to Cabinet 30 June, so soon thereafter, I hope. We've been extremely happy with the participation and feedback on our discussion paper. We've had over 100 submissions over the last 3 to 4 months, both from individuals, from businesses, and from peer groups. Tomorrow, we've actually got a forum where we're inviting those 100 people who participated to a workshop not dissimilar to what the Queensland plan did up in Mackay, to go through the feedback, to look through the discussion paper and assist in drafting our ICT strategy moving forward. And several of you in this room are probably attending that tomorrow. Based on that, we will be, as I said, aiming to get to Cabinet our first cut of the ICT strategy by 30 June. Feedback from there will dictate how quickly we can move beyond that. At the same time, whilst doing the ICT discussion paper and finalising the ICT strategy, we have been developing an ICT implementation plan, which defines key streams of activity, which in essence it's a matter of balancing immediate quick wins with establishing the longer term framework for achieving our outcomes. But similarly, we will be releasing that, and that will be available ongoing on the ICT dashboard. For those who don't know, that implementation plan, the whole ICT reform process was announced Tuesday, that Glenn Walker, the CIO from DCS, has joined my department to lead the ICT reform process moving forward. He'll be the person responsible for delivering that action plan on the Minister's my behalf. So he will be much more visible at these events as we go forward. Similar to the ICT discussion paper, as we keep moving forward, my objective is that all key documents, all key deliverables, all key actions and objectives will be released for public comment, particularly from this group in the room. So I do encourage you to keep aware of what's going on. I do encourage you to keep visiting the various information source and websites we have. Do rest assured we do go through your peer groups and the industry groups to identify when those documents are coming out. Over and above that, the Minister, reporting directly to the Minister, has established an ICT industry engagement group, which is a representation of the ICT industry and business within this room, who comments up front, even before it goes public, comments up front around the directions we're heading in. As I mentioned, the Minister's holding a forum tomorrow to further inform the ICT strategy development. So what does this all mean in real terms? I do know that it's been, having come from that side as well, it's been quite a tough last, I wouldn't say 1 year, I'd say 3 years. I'd say in essence since early 2010, the ICT industry's been a tough environment. As such, with the release of both the Commission of Audit and the ICT Audit, the government is keen to move forward and enact the recommendations. Some of them, over the next 6 months, we're starting to see already. The Communications and Collaboration as a Service Cloud Panel is being established, be accessed by agencies by no later than September. In other words, email, instant messaging, video conferencing, etc. So that procurement's underway as we speak. Secondly, similar to today, and we will actually look to leverage off today, the Department of the DSITIA will be looking for options for QSS's ERP as a service. As several in this room know, we have quite an ageing and disparate ERP platform. We want to minimise our risk moving forward, minimise our costs moving forward. And as such, Mike Bernheim, you want to wave your hand, Mike? Time to shine, Mike. Mike will be undertaking similar exercises to what we're doing today around QSS and where we're heading in relation to how we provide the systems to the processes he manages. Once again, many in this room are already aware that the DCS payroll solution procurement is now well underway, the process is well underway. The SciTech divestment thinking has commenced. There will be further activity around that over the next 1 to 3 months around what we will do with SciTech. As has been announced, once again by the Minister and more broadly, one of the, certainly the more grunt work options, but certainly the most exciting in terms of enabling all of our recommendations, is the One Government Network. For those who know Peter Grant, he's kicked off developing the scope for that activity of work, and we will once again see further information around the One Government Network coming up very shortly. The IT dashboard will be up and running. We'll provide you with all the information that's going on, and we'll provide accountability and transparency of the actions we're undertaking and how we're tracking to our plan. The cloud infrastructure arrangements, similarly, have kicked off, in terms of the thinking, the process, and once again we're looking to have, it's not on here, but we're looking to have that panel tender out by no later than September. As I touched on earlier, we have kicked off trying to streamline ICT procurement processes and in particular review and improve peer review so that once again agencies can get to yourselves much quicker. That's, I saw the second cut of that today, and hopefully we'll see that come out sooner rather than later. So there's some of the actions that are occurring at the moment. So what I've just taken you through there is the context and framework under which we've commenced changing our ICT direction, the activities we're undertaking at the moment to develop our ICT strategy and action plan moving forward, and some of the actions already underway. As I touched on at the start of this presentation, all throughout, one of the most active and proactive members of the IT community and certainly corporate services community in relation to engaging across the board to get to the right outcome, to implement the recommendations we've seen today, is Queensland Health. They contacted us as soon as the Commission of Audit came out to understand how best to engage the market, to understand how best to get to the right outcomes and the right service delivery model moving forward. And they're actually the ones who organised today. So hopefully they're setting the groundwork and the framework and the model which all of our departments will adopt moving forward. To talk to you today, and appropriately, in relation to the business lead of the program of work, is Susan Middleditch. As I said, the DDG for Systems Support Services. There we go. And Susan will now take you through at the high level their business requirements and what they'll be looking forward as they move forward. At the conclusion of Susan's talk, we'll then both be available for questions.